With the 5th pick in the NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select
Miles Jack, UCLA.
Let's be honest, this prospect is the real deal. He is an outside linebacker who also played running back during his time at UCLA. Gus Bradley will rule over the idea. He'll probably run up to the podium just to hand it to Goodell and go, I want him to anchor my defense.
Yeah, and he's going to be a great pick. I mean, last year they had Fowler, who was an hour in the practice toward ACL. Hopefully for them, they don't have another situation like that. And they're basically going to have 2 rookies that are top 5 talent coming onto the field for opening day. And it's going to be great for them because they really need help on defense.
They do need help on defense, but man, were they busy this offseason. They dug deep into their pockets and pulled out Malik Jackson from Denver, Chris Ivory from the Jets, Hayshawn Gibson, and Prince Amukamara. Man, you throw in Jack to go along with Fowler, that defense could be frightening for the Jaguars. Gus Bradley, if you may recall, was the defensive coordinator in Seattle. And a lot of players liked him in Seattle. He's a good coach. And he has slowly rebuilt this Jaguar team into a potential contender this year in a weak AFC South.
It's true. And boy, were they weak last season. But going back to the Jaguars just in general, I mean, you look at their body of work on both sides of the ball. Their offense last year actually was probably the best they've been in a very long time. Blake Willis is coming of age in that offense. They have young wide receiver talent. They have TJ Yeldon, the running back, and they just signed Chris Ivy as well. And they look like they could be in a potential run for that division, which it's been a long time since Jaguars fans have heard that kind of saying.
Tom Coughlin was the coach. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah, and that sort of caliber type team, that's great news for them. And they've been on the up since they drafted Blake Willis. It was a great franchise choice for them, as he is now paid off last season. He had a phenomenal year. And if they could have anything like their success in offense as they had on defense, they will be set to possibly win the division.
The Jaguars have built through the draft. That's fair to say. They've taken their franchise quarterback. Like you said, they have the wideouts. You sprinkle in some of these veterans who have the playoff experience, and you're right in it. I mean, the Colts aren't that fantastic. I mean, granted, they didn't have Andrew Luck last season, who is the real deal. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're beatable. The Colts are beatable.
Yeah.
The Texans just signed Osweiler to be their quarterback. We'll see what happens there. They signed Lamar Miller as well. So Houston, they made the playoffs, but that's a very shaky team. I mean, anything is possible in that division. The Jaguars, I mean, I believe the Titans are the other team in the AFC South.
Yeah, and who knows what they're going to do this season.
So, I mean, they're a wild card, but I could see the Jaguars stealing some games. And potentially, if Jack comes healthy and you give him some time, he is going to be a linebacker that you are not going to want to mess with for a couple good years at least.
Yeah, and they really need some consistency in their linebacking core. Part of the problem is they're really not. They've really, over the years, they're not a terrible defensive team. They're really not. But a lot of the players that they're bringing in, a lot of them on defense at least, they're paying really high. Paying him Malik Jackson this year. And sort of the problem was when you pay high value for these players is that they don't come in with the biggest heart and they come in with the biggest wallets. And that's why they're trying to go through the draft, and that's what they've been doing. And this is why Miles Jack is such a great pick for them, because it solidifies another young defensive talent who just wants to come in and play. And as you said, he can ball.
He knows how to ball. I mean, the question mark about him is his health. People said the same thing about Todd Gurley. And look what Todd Gurley did for the Rams last year. He ran them into wins. I mean, he was an absolute stud.
Yes, he really was. And, as injuries go, it looks more like in the current, medicine we have now. Injuries aren't that huge of a role when you're younger.
Yeah, it's like Peterson came off an ACL and then almost breaks the rushing record the next season.
9 yards short. You can't say much about that other than amazing.
But back to the Jaguars. If you throw Jack into their linebacker core, you have Paul Punzlunski from Penn State. He's bounced around, but he is a great veteran linebacker that Jack can learn from. He can take him under his wing. He can show him the ropes. I am a big fan of when veterans show young guys the ropes. And it is important because these veterans, they're not going to last all that long. Their point is to tutor the young guys. And Jack, if you see his highlight reel, this guy loves contact. And he loves finishing off plays. As a running back, he wanted to hit you. He didn't want to run around you. He was like the Adrian Peterson smash mouth in your face. And that's the type of linebacker he is.
Yeah, it'll be exciting for them. It'll be very exciting to see what they do on defense. We already know their offense is very prolific last year. They had a lot of great success last year with their offense. And if they can get the same consistency out of the defense, they are going to be a scary team in that AFC.
A lot of bright spots for this young Jaguars team with head coach Gus Bradley. This could turn into something special as the Jaguars, I repeat, the Jaguars might be a contender.
Yeah. Now they're not winning any Super Bowls anytime soon, but hey, they're
making
really,
their way.
They're really not that far off becoming a top team in that conference if they can actually keep some of these young guys in Jacksonville and then they can keep them healthy.
Absolutely, health is a big key. But Miles Jack, number 5 at Jacksonville, would be a great pick for the Jaguars.